Hey guys, can you hear me? I'm just gonna wait a couple more minutes just to let others join if they're deciding to come. Hi, can you hear me? Hello? Okay. So I need a moment to set up. Just a minute or two. Okay, so I'll be starting now. Alright, so hi guys. So this will be a topic on decentralized gaming. And this is not meant to be a very technical discussion. This is more a general overview of what decentralized gaming is and what it is aimed to do and how it changes the way we currently see gaming. So, of course, first of all, what is decentralized gaming? Well, decentralized gaming is it's pretty similar in terms of how it is compared to regular gamings. It's the functionality is pretty much the same. When you play the video game, it feels the same. However, there's this one minor change, and it's that uh, all the in-game items are tokenized and they are stored in a blockchain. And so, what does that mean? Well, so if the items are tokenized, we'll talk about that later as we go on. But a blockchain, what is a blockchain? Well, a blockchain is an emerging technology that, without getting too detailed, because there's several layers behind blockchain, but just to give a very brief explanation of what blockchain is, it's just a software that is really good at storing information and securing it in a way that cannot be changed. So, with that in mind, yeah, what does all this mean? So, what makes decentralized gaming special? or why are people looking into this concept and developing games on top of this idea? Well, to start off, let me give an example, and perhaps the people watching can perhaps relate. So let's say that you are playing a game, and it could be just about any game, but for the sake of this example, just think about a mobile game, because this is very persistent in mobile games. So I'm gonna use Super Smash Bros. As a narration, not as an example, but just a way to demonstrate what the explanation. So on the left is a character, and let's say that you have been grinding really hard, and you have been out there buying all the right gears, and you're trying to read up on all the forums about this character, and afterwards you'll go and watch all those YouTube videos and tutorials over how to properly use this character and play it to its maximum potential. And so let's say that over time, with all that investment you put into this character, you get pretty good at it, and somehow, sometime later, the developers were like, okay, look, here we're going to release a new character. And you can purchase this character, but it's going to cost you. Oh, well, of course, you're not going to do that. First of all, why would you spend money? And another point is you spend all this time, all your resources, trying to get good at this one character. So now that you're going to just, there's no way you're going to just go and throw it away and get it on this new release that you're not even sure if it's good or not. Okay, so however, other people decided to buy this new release, and because of that, you start and you end up in a scenario where you could just no longer win, no matter how hard you try. And just about any effort you put in will results in an even more painful death, as the opponent just seemingly goes out their way to mock you and assert their dominance over you through these games. But uh, okay, but of course, all hope is not lost. I mean, it can't be that bad. Like, there's got to be a way for the developers to make this game fair. Like some. Okay, well, let's try that again. like, there's just no way that they can just have this character be almost invincible and just okay. Well, all right, fine, cool, whatever. So you'd be like, all right, let me just use my final trump card. Like, there's just no way they can't block, but it just doesn't work. This new release is just too overpowered, and there's just no way you can beat it. So what do you do? What do you do at this point when you come across a character that is just beyond your league? Well, uh, you could do what a lot of people do, is just nothing and just wait it out, or you could just hop on a bandwagon and join the team. And when you do that, you start winning again. And sure, over time you'll get better at this character and all, but afterwards, well, just as soon as you buy this character, the developers are like, oh, you know what? This character is too overpowered. Let's just come and nerf it down a little. And at this point, just about any character can come in and just take this character down, and you just ended up wasting all of your savings on trying to get this new release. And well, the developers decided to just turn a 180 and just put all that character's strength away. But wait, all is not lost. The developers are caring, and what they ended up doing is they developed a new item for this specific new release, and it is meant to just be overpowered and help compensate for all of that nerf, if you're willing to pay a price. And thus, the cycle of never-ending spending on video games continues. Okay, so Sure. Why did I tell you that? I tell you these things. I told you that story because well, there's a problem. It's the underlying problem with games is that whenever you as a player would buy an in-game item, there is a chance that later on the developers would change the item, and whatever original intent you have with the item could have been changed, even though you paid the price for this original item, which is now different. And so the underlying problem is that you don't actually own the in-game items, and because you don't own the in-game items, you don't control what the items how the item will behave over time. It's not permanent; it can be changed. So, albeit it's a rather minor problem, but this problem has consequences, intended consequences. So, all right, so that's the problem. How do you solve it? Well, we could use a blockchain and to solve this problem. So, how would that work? So, to do that, you would store in-game assets on a blockchain, and then you can choose what to do with those items. So, like, uh, let's say that in the previous example, let's say that you have these Fortnite skins. You can buy them and you can wear them. That's just about it. You don't really own them, but if this Fortnite skin was to be put on a blockchain to be decentralized, well then you will be able to buy them from the developers and trade them with other people and even sell them yourself to other people. Whereas now I think you're just limited to selling these skins back to Steam. I think that's how it works. I'm not too sure, but if games become decentralized and you truly own the asset, you can decide how you want to handle the asset, and potentially you can sell it for profits, or you can just keep it for your own sake, or just trade it with some other people. And the best part of all is that the developers can't change what's already done. So what you're going to be buying is indeed a product that you have been expecting to buy in the beginning. The developers just cannot change it. It's on blockchain. So an example of a a game that's been developed on a blockchain, a decentralized game, is a CryptoKitties. So what is CryptoKitties? Well, it's a rather simple game. It's a very straightforward game. You have these cats, and what you do with these cats are very limited. But the only thing you can do with these cats is breed them, and you would breed them, and the new cats will have new looks. And the idea is to just breed them, get different cats, and then trade or sell these cats to other people who might think that your cat is looks adorable. And I'm pretty sure you've all heard some sort of similar concepts behind these games. But what makes this game interesting is how like big it became back in 2018, where people were pouring thousands of dollars, even hundreds of thousands of dollars, into buying these little tiny cats that and they just do nothing. They just sit on the computer. Well, I mean, you can only breed them. You can't really play with them or use them in any sort of game other than just to breed, and then sell. But that was one of the very first decentralized games that's built on a blockchain, and it became rather successful in a way. And so afterwards, of course, this was back in 2018. So now that we're in 2020, where developers look back and they're like, wait a minute. So we have these assets that's on the blockchain, and we use them in games to store them on the blockchain. Why not take it a step further and make everything that is in the real world a part of a blockchain? So what I'm trying to say is I'm trying to describe non-fungible tokens, or NFTs for short. And the formal definition is that they're cryptographic assets which are unique in nature and therefore not mutually interchangeable. And I mean that definition sounds kind of confusing, but what that means is it's just uh, anything that can be collected, or think of collectibles. You can split collectibles, and then you can just take that collectible and put it onto the blockchain, and you can trade and sell. And the idea is that if you can put anything on the blockchain, well, why not put like a house in the blockchain, or why not put a car in the blockchain, and just trade those around? Because in a modern world, when you have trade, when you like exchange houses or exchange cars, there's a lot of complexity involved. So then people start wondering, okay, why not take this concept that has been developed through decentralized gaming and just apply it to the real world in a way that simplifies the process of how people interact with each other day to day. And that gave rise to NFTs, non-fungible tokens. So, okay, I described what NFTs are, but like, what are they being used for really? Like right now, at least. Well, yeah, mostly games like CryptoKitties. They're still around, although they're not as big as they used to be. But uh, but we're starting to see an expansion where people are starting to use artworks. Like people would put their own artwork, they'll draw art, and then they'll put it onto the blockchain, and then they will sell it there. So here's a website you can check out. So gcnfts.com, and underneath, well, at the bottom, there are a list of websites you can go on. And so Rarible is a website where people are actually selling arts, and you can buy them with cryptocurrencies. And this is all done digitally. Like there is no like you buy art and then someone ships it to you. No, like this is this, you buy them and you get them in a blockchain. So these are just some of the arts, and there's different categories for what you might be looking for. Yeah, but like right now, this is what people are using NFTs for, to sell arts. And of course, like there are talks about some companies out there trying to take this idea and putting it onto houses and start your own house or whatnot. So let's go back. Uh, yeah. But putting houses onto the blockchain, it's still in the future. Like people are just in the beginning talks about it, where you can pretty much put like land or companies or just about anything really onto the blockchain, and it just makes it easier for people to track and trade and sell these items. So, in conclusion, well, decentralized gaming, it's again a rather new concept, and it has its ups and downs. So, the ups, of course, I described earlier, where just you are able to go in and actually own the item, and no one can really modify. Developers can go in and nerf the character or buff them, which is great. But at the same time, it's also really bad some because you can't really create a balanced game just off the bat. There's a lot of research that goes into it, a lot of game theory, and even then, you're not entirely sure if the new release character that you're putting out there, or a new card or whatever it is actually gonna perform the way that you expected. And so, in a sense, developers kind of need to be able to change the game mechanics so that it'll be more enjoyable for the overall community. But that's more of a debate that can go both ways. So yeah, so I mean there are some goods, and then there are also some people who are pushing back against this idea, and also game game developers, like they're not cheap, they cost money, and games cost money to make. And so if everything is given to the players, then how will the players can trade and sell and buy other players' assets that's in the game, then how will the companies make money? And so that's a whole another discussion that people aren't just quite sure yet. But although there's a possibility that over time collectibles such as trading card games like Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh can move on to this uh, concept more easily. So I mean, like so right now there are some. I know back in the day, I'm not sure if it is now, but you could buy Pokemon cards, and in the Pokemon cards there'll be information, like a card you can scan in or type into the Pokemon website, and then you'll be able to actually play those cards with other players online. Now I'm not sure if they do still do it still, but I know that was a thing back then, and yeah, you could completely move that onto a blockchain, and it would work just fine, and better yet, it'll work even better because there are some limitations, which is you can only trade those cards with people inside that game. You can't trade it with anyone who's outside and not playing that game. But and same goes with like Yu-Gi-Oh. There is this mobile app. I think it's called Duel Links or something, and you can go in there and you can uh, collect cards, trade cards, buy and buy and sell, and all that. But or I'm not even sure if you can trade cards. But anyways, all that trading and interaction, it's all done within the game ecosystem. You can't do it outside of it. So if a person like me who doesn't play Duel Link wants to purchase a Yu-Gi-Oh card because it looks nice, well, I can't do it. I have to actually go onto the download the game and get it myself there. But if you were to move it onto a blockchain, that won't be a case anymore. No, you can buy any asset that's on as long as it's connected to the blockchain, and you don't even need to play the game. You can just buy the card and do whatever you want with it. You can just stare at it or whatever. And that's the beauty of this decentralized gaming concept where that is emerging is that anyone can trade with anything and no one is going to stop you as long as both parties agree to exchange the items, then it will work. And yeah, that's the conclusion for decentralized gaming. I hope you guys learned something new from that, and if there's any questions, feel free to ask. Well, if there's no questions, then thanks for watching.